What's your biggest takeaway from the depth chart? I see y'all Friday night at the CP. Go Noles, beat Bama. All right. So this was one of the major items of the day. It was just after 11 o'clock this morning that Florida State decided to get out in front of it, Ira. Usually it's a piece of paper distributed before the press conference. They went to social media. They're like, here it is, everybody. Here is our two deep. So I'll put that up on the screen now. If you did not see Florida State's depth chart and you did not head over to warchant.com, tisk, tisk, here it is for you right now. Both offense and defense are listed there vertically. I can scroll down if you need to. Ira, what places surprised you or piqued your interest?
I think the biggest thing that I say surprised me, but probably surprised me is just how committed Tony White and his staff are to really having a fair, open competition and not caring about who was there before. I know, like a lot of FSU fans, when they saw this, they asked themselves, okay, who's AJ Cottrell? Who's Donnie Hebert? It's safety. Those are two second-team guys on this roster. Neither of them were big recruiting wins for Florida State. They didn't sign them. They didn't have big signing day press conferences. They didn't spend a ton of money flying them in for their official visits. But they're two guys that have been in the program now for 3 or 4 years, have really been good practice players. And I'll be honest with you, man, and you and I have been at practice, and I've said this to people in the program that I thought AJ Cottrell could play. I didn't understand when there were times when their linebackers were really struggling and the previous coaching staff wouldn't give him a shot. And again, I don't have as much information as they do. Maybe the 40 time isn't what it needs to be, maybe whatever it is, but I'm glad to hear that they're looking at not worrying about where a guy was, who signed you, what you were evaluated in the recruiting process, but who are the best players. And I think that's a good sign, man. I think it sends a great message also that you have freshmen, Shamar Arnaud, Javon Boggs, who a lot of people wondered, would he really get a starting job? I mean, to me, the big message from this depth chart is if you're a freshman, if you're a former walk-on, if you're a younger player, it doesn't matter. If you're the best player, you got a chance to play. And that's the message you want to send. That's what fosters competition. It's not just fiery speeches and motivational talks from coaches. This is what you have to do to let everybody know, man, if you earn your spot, you're going to get your chance. And I think that's a really good message.
Got to follow up about that defensive side of things and what the depth chart says, because you discussed this earlier today on the Jeff Cameron Show, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. Brett first. We'll go to this. Roydell is listed first at running back. Does that mean both will play, but Roydell will get out on the field first? Sawchuk may get more carries, for example, but Roydell will be given the honor to start. Do you read that much into it, Ira, in terms of top line versus line number 2?
I think it'll be just like any starting position. I mean, I think Roydell will be the first one out there. And if he runs the ball well, I think he'll get more opportunities. If he doesn't run the ball well, I think Gavin Sawchuk is right there. I don't think there's a big change. They've both played a ton of college football. Roydell did it at Alabama. Gavin Sawchuk did it at Oklahoma. They've both been starting running backs. They both played in big games. And so I think they're each going to get opportunities, and then they'll go with who's performing. And then I think it'll go from there. But I also think Ousmane Kromah is going to play a ton. And I think Jalen Lucas, the other starting running back, if they go with 2 backs at a time, will get tons of opportunities as well because of his speed and his agility and skill set. So it's going to be interesting to see how they use those guys. But I don't think it's just a salute to Roydell for being a good guy. If he's in there and he produces, I think he'll stay in there for a while. If he's not, then I think they'll go quickly to Sawchuk.
I don't intend this to be dwelling on a negative, Ira, but you guys discussed this earlier today, and you said if the message isn't clear now, if you're looking at the 2 deep and you see a name like AJ Cottrell or you see Donnie Hebert or Arnaud, as a true freshman on line number 2 at one of the 2 corner positions, then the message won't be clear if you don't understand it now with them releasing the depth chart. Does that give you any concern about the mentality of some players on the defensive side of the ball, whether or not they're bought in? Obviously, anybody who's on this list is bought in, but is there a second side to that coin that leaves you concerned at all, that maybe some of the names that were highly touted coming out of high school still don't seem to be able to break through?
Yeah, I mean, I think every case is going to be different. Some guys probably are not responding to the challenge the way they want them to respond to the challenge. Other guys may not be as good as they were thought to be. The other part of it is every coaching staff has different needs and different desires at those positions. I remember specifically when Jimbo Fisher came in, there was a high-profile player. There was a major big-time recruit that the previous coaching staff, and Coach Bowden, before Jimbo joined the staff as an offensive coordinator, they landed this player who's a really high-profile player, and Jimbo confided later that he wouldn't have signed that player at LSU. It just didn't. He's not a good fit for what he wants at that position. But Florida State was thrilled to get him before Jimbo came in. Well, now that Jimbo comes in, and he's got to figure out what to do with this player who maybe wouldn't have been exactly what he wanted. So I think that's part of it. You change schemes, you change defensive systems, you change coaching staffs. So some of these guys may not be with the program, but other of them may just not be suited to do what this coaching staff wants them to do. So I think it's probably some of both.
Like this comment from the Elite Coalition. There's no question here, but he says, I love the fact that this new staff is playing the people who put in the work and respond to the challenges set forth by FSU. It's refreshing, and that's how it should be. Amen to that. Hopefully this is something that continues, because anybody can put out a depth chart, but then I think we need to see, Ira, as the game presents itself and adversity strikes. This is something that's in the piece that you can find right now, warchant.com, Henshaw's house. When it's real and the game counts and adversity hits, how do the players behave? How do the coaches behave? How do substitution patterns change if they need to? That's all going to be something that we just we cannot predict that until we see how it all lays out, especially the relationship between the coordinators and the head coach on Saturday. This is all brand new. There's a lot. You probably need to watch this game 2 or 3 times to take in all the new that's going to be out there on the field for 60 minutes on Saturday.
Yeah, and just the other side of the spectrum on this whole topic about who giving guys opportunities and all that. This is all what you want to see. I think this is all very positive. I think it's great. At the end of the day, though, if guys get on the field, if these guys who've done everything right in practice, they've learned the system, they know exactly what they're supposed to do, they've played well in practice, they've done everything you need them to do, but they get out there on the field and they're just not fast enough, or they're not talented enough, then that's the coaching staff has to figure that out, because that's a possibility as well. I mean, one of the players that you and I talked a lot about a few years ago was Trayshawn Ward, who he got a little bit of opportunities one year at the end of a season. We saw him in spring. We're like, man, this guy can really play. He gets the opportunity. He ends up becoming a huge part of their offense that next year. But I'll tell you that there were some people in the program who still felt Trayshawn Ward was a walk-on because he's not fast enough. And so there's that part of it. There's that reality of it too. Like, everybody wants the player who's doing all the right things to be rewarded, and that's great. But if he gets out there and they can't cover in space, or they can't make that play on the ball, everybody's going to be calling for the highly touted scholarship guy to get back in the game. So we'll see how it all plays out. But again, as far as right now and the coaching staff, I believe they're doing what they need to do to get the right players on the field.
We're going to continue with your questions here tonight, because it seems like the depth chart has brought a lot of interest to the table. So let's keep it rolling with Jacob Carlton here, who says, what's up, man? Do you think Kromah still gets on the field despite or after seeing depth chart? Yeah, I think for sure. The question is, I would set this over under, Ira. Drive 3, before or after, or right on the money? What do you think? Drive 3 for the offense that Kromah gets to see the field.
It's a good number, Tom. It's a good number. I think if I would not pick under, probably, just because I don't know. If Florida State had 2 long sustained drives, then maybe I could see him getting in on drive 3. I do think they're going to want him to kind of see the flow of the game, feel the pace of the game, feel the speed of the game from down there on the sidelines before you throw him in there. Again, Ousmane Kromah is an elite talent. For people that are at practices, they rave about him just being at a different level. The coaches and players, the one word they all use to describe him is different, and that's a good thing for him. And so he's going to get opportunities, but I don't think they want to throw him out there maybe before to put him in an unfair situation. So I think they're going to look for the right place. But yeah, 3rd drive, 4th drive, somewhere in there, I think it'll definitely happen. If it happens in the 2nd drive, that would be a little bit earlier than I expect. After
looking at the depth chart today, is your confidence level changing at all in what's possible for Florida State either Saturday or for the season? So what do you think, Ira?
I don't think my confidence level is changing. I mean, I was a little bit concerned about the defense coming into it, and before we saw the depth chart, I'm a little bit concerned about it now. And that's not because I don't have confidence in Tony White or that staff. I just don't know if they have the pieces they need to be good enough, especially up front, against a team like Alabama. I think they'll be fine in a lot of games this season, but we know what that Alabama offensive line is all about. I mean, you're talking about a bunch of NFL guys, high level NFL draft picks on that offensive line. And I think Florida State's done a good job of rebuilding their defensive line, but probably not to the degree it needs to be. So that's my concern, but I kind of knew that before I saw the depth chart. I have a lot of confidence in the secondary. I like what we've heard about the linebackers. I need to see that. I can't sign off on that.
Fair.
I feel good about the secondary. I like what we're hearing about the linebackers. And then I'm just curious about the defensive line. If those guys play well, if Darrell Jackson plays at his highest level, if James Williams is everything he's supposed to be, if Jason Jenkins lives up to what he was supposed to be when he came out of Tennessee, they'll probably be fine. But there's a lot of guys there that I don't know how they're going to stack up against an elite offensive line.